Finally, after all these years, a new turn-based RPG. They're so underrated, honestly. Maybe this'll show Square Enix that turn-based RPGs aren't dead, and then they can stop popping out that hack-and-slash slop they call Final Fantasy. Finally, after all these years, a new turn-based RPG. They're so underrated, honestly. Finally, after all these years, a new turn-based RPG. Finally, after all these years, a new turn-based RPG. Finally, after all these years, a new turn-based RPG. Now that they've proven that turn-based RPGs are still alive, Square Enix will start making turn-based Final Fantasy games instead of those Devil May Cry ripoffs. Huh? What's that? Who gives a fuck about those games? I wish turn-based RPGs were still a thing. So, turn-based RPGs. It's an old-school genre for role-playing games that's slowly but surely dying out. Well, not actually, but for some reason people like to pretend they are, particularly whenever a new successful turn-based RPG comes out. And since Clair Obscur has been out for about half a year now, I've seen talks about it ranging from praising the game and its gameplay, and rightfully so, because honestly, the game is a fucking masterpiece in every regard, and it's probably up there as one of my favorite turn-based RPGs now. But at the same time, people are using its success to spread the claim that Clair Obscur's success will show the gaming industry that turn-based RPGs can still work in today's age, which doesn't really seem necessary considering all the bangers we've been getting for the past decade. I mean, hell, one of them won Game of the Year in 2023 and still has a ton of players, according to Steam, myself included. I swear, I'm not addicted. I totally need to continue my third playthrough. And as for more traditional turn-based RPGs, it's especially silly to see people claim that there's some kind of imaginary persecution towards them. Aside from the few I mentioned, there was also Persona 5, along with its Royal re-release, Dragon Quest XI, Bravely Default, Octopath Traveler, Triangle Strategy, Fire Emblem, Three Houses, Sea of Stars, Shin Megami Tensei 5, I can keep going on. But all of these games paired with the other ones I mentioned in the shitposty skit I did, they're all games that have come out within the past 8 years, and if that doesn't show people that turn-based RPGs never left, then I don't know what will. And I do know a lot of this attitude stems from Final Fantasy taking more of an action-based approach for combat in recent titles, particularly with Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 7 Remake along with its sequel Rebirth, and Final Fantasy 16, with a lot of the backlash directed towards the latter. And granted, Final Fantasy 16 does have its issues, and I'm probably going to make a long overdue video on that another time. But in my opinion, the main issues lie with the pacing, the wasted opportunity story-wise in the second half, and the god-awful performance on the base PS5. Yes, I do like how in the cinematic mode I can change from 30 FPS to 35 FPS when I turn on the fucking performance mode. Beautiful. Thank you, Square Enix. Very cool. And, the lack of a party system and maybe how we should have been able to use more skills for each icon you had equipped. But the combat was the better part of the game, in my opinion, and I don't see why Final Fantasy having action-based combat, which they've been doing for years, by the way, is suddenly an issue and has people thinking that turn-based RPGs are endangered. And I swear, this whole discourse gets regurgitated literally any time a new popular turn-based RPG comes out, and it just gets fucking annoying after a while. And this isn't even me trying to defend Square Enix or their recent titles. I've honestly lost most, if not all, of my respect for them, as much as I liked 16 and Final Fantasy 14. And there's been some problems lately, but what does make my eyes roll to the back of my skull is when people use the success of another game to push a narrative that turn-based RPGs are more pressed than gamers, or try to use it as a gotcha against other games. It's just fucking stupid. And thankfully, I'm a bit late to this, so most of the discourse about Clair Obscur now is about the ending, but that's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to spoil anything. Everybody should experience this blind. unlike me, sadly. But honestly, I love this game to death, and I really hope it wins Game of the Year at the Game Awards. It honestly deserves it, and it showed us that France has a soul after all. And I'll probably make more videos on Clair Obscur at some point. But thank you all for listening to my short little schizo rant. Sorry I've been a little bit behind on consistent uploads with moving out and trying to prioritize better. My life's kind of a mess right now. But I've been trying to devote a bit more time to the Bad Apple mod, as well as other projects I'm working on, as well as trying to find a job in this hellscape of an economy. But I'll be doing my best to try to bring you guys content more steadily and consistently. But I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys later. Umbruhh, out.